What up, everybody? Since the beginning of Raising Kanan, we've been looking to OG Power for answers about what could have potentially happened to the Thomas family. Are they dead, in prison, or are they out there in the world somewhere? Power Season 2, Kanan told Ghost to Tommy that he went to see his mom's and went straight to Ghost's penthouse to see him after. This statement is indicating that Rock is likely still alive on the Power timeline. But a few weeks ago, I made a video talking about 5 clues that Rock is either dead or in prison on the Power timeline, with some of those clues being contrary reports indicating that Rock is likely dead on the Power timeline. Those clues being the news reporter after Kanan's death saying he had no known living next to kin, Tasha telling Ghost that Kanan has no family, no friends, and no one who will miss him. There's also the fact that after his death, he had no funeral, but it was Tariq who picked up his ashes from the morgue using a fake ID, and it was Ghost and Tommy who identified his body at the morgue. There's also the fact that none of the Thomas family were in Kanan's son Sean's life on the Power timeline because he's being taken care of by Ghost. And there's also the house that Jukebox took Tariq the day she was killed, and that house has a lot of similarities to the house Rock is currently living in on the current Raising Kanan timeline, meaning it looks like that house has been abandoned for a long time. But in that video, I didn't say she was necessarily dead. I said she could be either dead or in prison. Because what if when Kanan went to visit his mother, which we know he was lying about anyway, not saying he didn't visit his mother during the time, but he didn't just go see his mom's and then go straight to Ghost. He had been on the street handling business for a minute before showing up at the penthouse that day. But what if when he told Ghost that he went to see his mom's and went straight there, he was talking about visiting his mother in prison? Because even though he's a convicted felon, according to Power Season 4, when Tommy visited his father in prison, all he would have to do is prove that he is immediate family. And the fact that the news reporter said he had no known living next to kin could be because him and his mother, Rock Thomas, have different last names. So I think there's a good possibility that what we could see play out is Rock and her brothers, if the brothers survive, that they go to prison on RICO charges at the end of Raising Kanan as it transitions into Origins. Yesterday I talked a little bit in the video I made about how in Season 3 they were under a federal investigation, but Rock killing Howard was an attempt to try to get them off her family's back. I said it could have seemed like it worked, as the feds allow Rock to think she won while they sit back and investigate from the shadows while they build a case against them. So with that said, I think we could see Rock going to prison at the end of Raising Kanan Season 5 and serving a 30-year prison bid and being released on the current Power Book 2 Enforced timeline. And if I'm Courtney Kemp, Gary Lennon, or whoever makes those calls, I'm definitely recasting Patina Miller to play older Rock as well. Color her hair white, put a little makeup on her to make her look a little bit older, and she could be the same size after being in jail. She just didn't like the jail food, and all those years she could have been exercising on a daily basis, doing her push-ups and her squats while she was in prison. Because if I was the one making those calls, I'm not letting Patina Miller walk away from the Power universe until she starts demanding that Mary J. Blige type money. Not to mention Rock going to prison and getting out on the current Power timeline after approximately 30 years would be crazy. And Rock would be getting out of prison potentially to no money, and the family that she left on the outside when she went in is now gone. Her son, her grandson, and her niece, Jukebox. Because of that, I think Rock would look for answers. It don't matter that she would be in her mid-60s. Family is family. Because Lynn Whitfield is currently in her 70s and still killing the role of Alicia on The Chi. But the first person Rock might turn to looking for answers could be Sean's mother, Jarita, who was also looking for answers about what happened to her son. And the last time we heard anything about Jarita in Power, it was right after Kanan killed Sean, and Jarita was calling Kanan because Sean didn't come home that night. And Kanan told her the last he heard, Sean was doing something for Ghost. Then, looking into Kanan's death and the details about what happened the night that he got into the gunfight with the cops and was killed, she could easily find out that Tariq St. Patrick was in the car with Kanan that night, and that Tariq had been reported a missing child by his parents. And that would leave a red flag with Rock about what happened alone. Then she could find out about what they were trying to say Kanan did at the time, and that was killing the dirty cop Ray Ray. And that they found Tasha's gun in the trunk. And what type of gun it was would also leave a red flag. I don't remember what kind of gun it was off the top of my head, but Kanan called it a bitch gun. Not to mention she would know that Kanan wouldn't be riding around with a murder weapon in his trunk. So after she finds out about that, she will definitely know that he was set up. And I would personally love to see Rock on the current Power timeline looking for answers and ultimately confronting Tariq while looking for answers, and seeing those two on the same screen together would be fire in my opinion. But like OG Kanan said to Tariq in the hallucination, setting him up was his mom's play. So Rock could actually end up targeting Tasha instead of Tariq. Then Tasha could tell Rock that Kanan killed Sean to try to get Rock to spare her life. And now that Tasha's out of WITSEC, now would be the perfect timing for Rock to get out of prison and go on the hunt for Tasha. Also keeping in mind Rock's current connection to Stefano Marchetti and the Italian Mafia. If she's still connected with him at the time she gets arrested and she doesn't snitch, she might still be connected in some type of way when she gets out. And even though it's almost guaranteed that Stefano would be dead on the current Power timeline, keep in mind the picture that was zoomed in on in Season 3, Episode 10, when Rock was at Stefano's home. Because the lady in that picture favored the Laura Savello of the Savello mob. And I know that they didn't zoom in on that picture for no reason. This connects Stefano to the Savello mob in some type of way. And Rock could turn to them when she gets out of prison because she was loyal while she was on the inside and didn't snitch. And what if this is around the time that the Savello mob is finding out that Tommy Egan is still alive? What if Rock turns the Savello Mafia to help her out financially, and they tell her that they have a job for her to do, and that's to take out Tommy Egan, and they want her to do it because they feel like he won't see her coming? That's just a couple ways that Rock could get written into the current Power timeline. Possibly seeing Rock getting released from prison in the credit scene of the final episode of Raising Kanan and setting the stage for a new spinoff. Like what OG Kanan the narrator once said, everybody got their own shit, their own journey, their own path. Some motherfuckers living in the present trying to figure out who they are. And then there are some motherfuckers who are looking toward the future trying to figure out who they want to be. And then there are some heads stuck in the past doing everything in their power to make sure none of us find out about who they were. And that's what all this shit is. What life is. A fucking throwdown between what happened, what's happening, and what's gonna happen. And I know you're wondering who's gonna win the fight, the past, the present, or the future. Shit. Why are you asking me? And I would love to see these worlds colliding with Rock getting out of prison on the current Power timeline after a 30-year bid. And because OG Kanan didn't have the answer of who would win, the past, present, or future, maybe that's a clue that we'll see Rock in the future. Maybe Rock's the past, Tommy's the present, and Tariq is the future. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.